Thank you so much. Oh, all right, recording in progress. All right, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Megan, and I work at Craft Express. I am a sublimation expert, and today we are going to teach you how to make a glass can for mom. Mother's Day is around the corner. I know a lot of people are thinking of either some last minute gifts for mom, or if you're a mom, maybe you just want a gift for yourself. So I'm going to teach you how to make that using sublimation. Now, show of hands. Who here knows what sublimation is? I can't really see anybody, so the show of hands things was just for fun. But please, in the comments, let me know if you're familiar with sublimation, and if you're a beginner, if you're brand new, or if you're also a sublimation expert. That's going to help me really break down how much detail I should go in so that you all get the best experience from this class. I know from previous experience with doing classes for Michaels, we tend to have a lot of beginners. So I want to make sure I know what I'm working with here so I can break down the proper amount of information for all of you. We have Courtney here who says that she is a beginner. Thank you, Courtney, so much for being a part of this. So what I'll do is, oh, we have another one. Looks like Lydia is a beginner. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to break down a little bit and start from the beginning. What is sublimation? Well, sublimation is the process of printing a design on a sublimation printer. You can use the Sawgrass printer. We also have a Brother printer, which is both are available, I believe, at michaels.com. And let's see, we have someone who's familiar, a beginner. Awesome. So we have a lot of people who are kind of new to this. So in sublimation, the technical definition, which gets people a little bit scared, it's when an item goes from a solid form to a gaseous form while skipping the liquid phase. And when sublimation crafting is talked about, it's when you print a design off of a sublimation printer using sublimation ink on sublimation paper, and then use heat, time, and pressure to transfer it onto a polyester coated item. Now, this is not just a glass can that you can get anywhere at any store. This is a glass can that is coated in polymers, which means that it is a glass can that's ready to be sublimated. The reason why you need your item to be coated in polymers or coated in polyester is because the polyester polymers open up like a flower. And when this design is wrapped around it and heat over time using a certain amount of pressure is added to it, the ink turns into a gas, and that gas has nowhere to go. So the polymers in this glass can start to absorb the ink. When we take the heat away, the polymers close up, trapping the ink inside. Think of it as a Venus flytrap. So once that happens, the ink in your design is on here permanently. It will never come off, never scratch, fade, or peel. This is dishwasher safe. So I'm not sure if any of you actually have the supplies for this event. If you do, amazing. We're going to go ahead and start crafting along together. First things first, we're going to turn on our heat press, and I'm going to teach you how to properly set up your Craft Express tumbler press. We're going to start by clicking the button on the side there. And if I start going too fast for anybody, please let me know. I'm excited to be here. I love doing Michael's classes. I might get a little bit ahead of myself. So if you need me to slow down or repeat something, I am monitoring the comments, and feel free to let me know. We've just turned our heat press on. Now we need to set it to the proper time, temperature, and pressure. When it comes to sublimation, the proper time, temperature, and pressure that your heat press needs to be set at is based on the material that your substrate or blank item is made out of. This is glass. We need to press this at 385 degrees for 3.5 minutes. I'm sorry, 375 degrees for 3.5 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and press the set button and use our arrows to go down to 375 degrees. We'll press set again. And we need 210 seconds. 210 seconds. And then set again. So now my heat press knows to heat up to 375 degrees and do it for, and we're going to press for 210 seconds. So while we're waiting to heat this up, we also have to make sure that we are set at the proper pressure. Back here are these knobs. I've already set it to the proper pressure just because I didn't want to set it while this was being heated. But we turn these knobs on the back end to open and close our barrel to set the proper pressure. So while that's heating up, let's go ahead and prep our design. Now this design I created in Canva, and you're going to notice a few things about it. The first being it's backward. That's right, it's mirrored. And that is because when it is wrapped around this glass, it's going to flip back at us. So when you see it this way, you're going to notice that it is totally fine and we see it the normal way. So when pressing on drinkware, you always mirror your design. So be sure to note that. You'll also notice that the colors just kind of look bland and dull. And that is because all sublimation prints come out bland and dull. So you'll realize that when working with sublimation, if you do your first print off of your sublimation printer, a lot of people go, well, what's wrong with it? Why is it so dull? I thought sublimation was supposed to be bright and colorful. It is, after the proper time, temperature, and pressure have been added to it. So we're going to go ahead and cut our design. I just want to make this paper a little bit smaller since we don't need it to be huge to wrap around our glass can. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here to answer any and all questions that you have. It can be about this project. It can be about sublimation in general. I am here to help. I'll make sure I have my heat glove for when I need it. So we have our design ready to go. We're going to wrap it around our glass can. Make sure that it's in a nice centered area. And then we're going to use heat tape and tape it on. Now, the reason that we use what we call heat tape, or some people call it heat resistant tape, is because you can't use regular just Scotch tape, if you will, in a heat press because it will melt. So this tape is made to withstand the heat and pressure of our tumbler press. So I have someone asking me, what printer do you use? That's a great question. I have both a Sawgrass SG500 and the new Brother Sublimation Printer. I use both of them. Both are great printers in their own ways. When it comes to the Sawgrass, it has its own maintenance cycle. They've been around for 30 plus years. You know, they are a sublimation company. They're not a printer company that just so happens to make sublimation printer. So they really do know sublimation. I also used to work for Sawgrass, so I have a lot of knowledge about the Sawgrass sublimation printers. I also have a Brother printer. Theirs is new to the market. Brother is a great crafting company that's well known in the industry. Their printer is very easy to set up, and it also comes with the Artspira app, which makes designing very easy and printing very simple. The Sawgrass does come with its own design software as well, DesignMate, and it comes with PrintMate, which is a color correcting software, which also makes printing, especially photographs, very easy. So both machines are really great in their own way. I believe both are sold at Michaels, or at least on Michaels.com. I can't speak to one over the other, but I have experience with both and I enjoy using both. Unfortunately, I do not have any experience with printing on an Epson. One thing I will say about Brother and about Sawgrass is, they're crafting companies who are already in the crafting atmosphere. They know crafting, they know sublimation. When it comes to the Epson, whether it's converted, I don't know anything about that. When it comes to their sublimation printer, I know it's only been around for a few years and I don't have much knowledge on it. Let's see. Yeah, so that's the best I can tell you about both of those. So I've gone ahead and I've taped my design onto my tumbler. What I like to do is put my tape so that I have a little piece to grab up here, and then tape all the rest of my tape layered on top of each other. And that is because when I go to take this off, it'll come off in like one swift motion. So let's go ahead and put this in here. I am using a medium pressure, and we are pressing this again at 375 degrees for 210 seconds. Now, we're doing it this way because we're only pressing one side. If this was a full wrap tumbler, or I was pressing an image on each side, I would press this for 105 seconds, open it up, rotate it, and press it for another 105 seconds. And the reason for that is because there is a tiny bit of an opening at the top here. You can kind of see, I mean, these come together almost completely, but there is a tiny bit of an opening here. And in that opening, there is air penetrating this tumbler. It's a very little bit, but it's enough where if there was part of a design there, it wouldn't be getting the proper heat and pressure, and it could leave a cold spot in your design. So we rotate when doing a full wrap to alleviate any problem with having any cold spots in our design. But this is just one side, and there's no need for rotating, so we're just going to press it at 210 seconds. Any more questions? This is a really quick activity, so we have a lot of time for questions here. So if you have any, please feel free to ask. It can be about this, any of our products. It can be about sublimation in general. Very much happy to help. I know I generally was hosting a once a week Michael's class where we just did questions and answers about sublimation for a whole hour, and we got a lot of amazing questions, so I'd love to hear them. Okay, so Lydia has great questions. How do you create the image? So I created this image in Canva, just using elements from within Canva. This image in particular, though, you should all have when you signed up for this class, because I did make it a downloadable file for everybody. So everybody should be able to have this. But I just went into Canva. I chose, oh, thank you so much, Chanel. So if anyone wants to make this exact creation, you have the download. So a lot of the time, I get questions about cotton. Can you sublimate onto cotton? And the answer to that is no. So sublimation is made to be used with polyester, hopefully 100% polyester, which is why when it comes to buying sublimation blanks, it is best to purchase from a sublimation blanks dealer, or obviously Michael's, who work with sublimation blank dealers. So what happens is the polyester, as I explained, holds the ink in. Cotton does not do that, which is why you cannot sublimate onto cotton. However, you can sublimate onto polyester cotton blends. We recommend to sublimate onto at least a 50% polyester blend. That's because that means that 50% of that t-shirt, for example, will absorb the ink. 50% will not. When that happens, you're going to get a more washed out, dull looking design. It won't be as vibrant as what you're about to see here. It will give you what we call more of a vintage look. So I'm pulling this out, and the trick here is we need to remove our tape and our design right away. And we do that because we don't want to get what we call ghosting. I'll tell you more about that in a second. First, let's go ahead and check this out. It says Crafty Mama. I think I know it looks right for me. I don't know if it's backwards for you guys because of my camera or not, but it's just want to make sure. Okay, we're good. Okay, Chanel, thank you. So I have a question here, but I'm gonna just talk quickly about ghosting. So what ghosting is when you have your design and it's sublimated onto your item, but your paper shifts during the sublimation process or during the taking off process, and you get a faint shadow of your design shifted right next to it. If you leave your design on too long and it starts to cool down, you can also get a blurring effect, which you don't want either. So it's best to just take your design off right away. So Amelia has a great question. I think it's Amelia, right? Sorry, Emeka. I'm so sorry. Has a great question. She wants to know what's better, a tumbler press or an oven? And I think that it depends on what you want to make. So a tumbler press is great for tumblers, specifically skinny straight tumblers, mugs, or even some tapered tumblers, along with all different types of drinkware that can fit within the barrel. This heat press, for example, can press anything from 11-ounce mugs to 30-ounce skinny tumblers. So if you have drinkware that doesn't have any like crazy ridges or isn't dramatically tapered, then a tumbler press is great for you. If you have items that have more ridges to them, are oddly shaped, like a wine glass or a really small tumbler that can't fit in here, or a tumbler that's too big to fit in here, then I recommend the oven. The oven, because of its convection and its shrink wrap, has the ability to sublimate into areas that the heat press can't reach, because the heat press is just like this. There's no grooves to get into. Where the oven, the shrink wrap, once it shrinks around your design and shrinks around your substrate, it puts that design into the grooves and it fits around items that can't fit in here. So that's why the oven is good. The oven is also good for when you want to do a lot of items at once. So say you want to press 8 tumblers. You can do that in here, one after the other, depending on what the material is. So say it's stainless steel tumbler, one after the other, 2 minutes at a time. Or you can put 4 of them in the oven and press them all at once for 8 minutes. So it kind of depends on what you want to do. Another great question by Amika. Can you reuse a design? The answer is no. Once that transfer is done, it's done, because the computer, the printer, together, they know how much ink to lay onto each sheet of sublimation paper. And they lay down enough to be transferred onto your item. So you cannot use it again. If you were to try to use it again, you'd probably get some residual ink that would transfer, but it would be minute and it would be very faint. And quite honestly, you would end up just wasting a blank product. So there's just no reason to even try it. What else? What other questions do we have? We are slated for an hour, so I have all the time in the world to answer your questions. This right now, let's see, this is still warm. So I do recommend when working with a substrate that you use heat protection. This comes with a bamboo lid and a glass straw. And the bamboo lid has a rubber coating here. So for items like this that have rubber to them, or have a plastic lid, I recommend waiting until your item is fully cooled down before you put the lid on, because you don't want to risk it melting or warping. Do you use the same printing for clothes? The answer is yes. So a sublimation printer, whatever you print out onto that sublimation paper, it can be used for anything. You can use it on tumblers, on t-shirts, on bags, on sequins. As long as you're transferring it onto a sublimation coated item, you're good to use it on anything. So if you were to print a design on your brother or your sawgrass, you can transfer it, t-shirt, tumbler, mug, sequins, it doesn't matter. There's no special thing that needs to be done. What else? Anything else? Love to help. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this over and give you a closer look. It says Crafty Mama. So Amika wants to know, what's the name of our cut press? We are Craft Express. So this is the Craft Express Elite Pro Tumbler Press. It is available on michaels.com, and you can find it there. Majority of our products are available on michaels.com. So for the paper, is it regular sublimation paper? So yes. So as long as it's sublimation paper, you're good to go. We have our own at Craft Express that we sell through Michaels, I believe. I know Michaels also sells a sawgrass sublimation paper. I'm not sure if they sell the Brother, but basically any sublimation paper is good to go in any sublimation printer. The thing to note is to put it shiny side down when loading it into the printer. So the shiny side is the side that is going to be printed on. So you load that side face down into the printer. Some people make it super easy for you. So Craft Express, our paper has Craft Express written on the back of it. So it's pretty easy to know what side goes down and what side goes up. Let's see. So can you get us the ink for Craft Express? So Craft Express does not sell ink. The ink you're going to have to get from whatever printer company you go through. So if you go through Sawgrass, you're going to have to get Sawgrass ink. If you go through Brother, you're going to have to get Brother's ink. If you go through Epson, you're going to have to get their ink. Unfortunately, when it comes to the printer and the ink, we do not sell that, but Michaels does. So if you go onto Michaels' website, you'll be able to find both types of printers, I think, along with both sets of ink. And Chanel, thank you so much, has posted the list of materials that we used in this class. So you can all take a look at them. And hopefully that's also helpful when recreating this project. And she also earlier posted the design. How do you care for the finished product? Will it rub or wash off? That's a fantastic question. The answer is it will not. So I like to describe sublimation like when the world ends and only the cockroaches and the Twinkies are left, your sublimation designs are also still going to be there because it never comes off. It never cracks, never fades, never peels. So this can go in the dishwasher and it is totally safe. I don't recommend putting the lid in the dishwasher because it's bamboo, it'll absorb some water, it could warp. So I would just hand wash this, but the straw and the cup, totally fine to go into the dishwasher. And that goes for all sublimation products. The only thing I'd recommend is if you're doing a sublimation stainless steel tumbler that's insulated, I would not put that in the dishwasher. Nothing to do with sublimation. It's all because of the vacuum seal that keeps it temperature controlled. The dishwasher does have the ability to break that down. So I would hand wash that. But anything with sublimation will never come off, crack, fade, or peel. Same with like a sublimated t-shirt. You can wash that t-shirt as many times as you want. Chances are you're gonna destroy the t-shirt itself. The design will never come off. What else? Any other questions? I know we've had a pretty active class today, so I really do appreciate you guys, especially because it is so early in the day. So I appreciate you taking time out of your Friday to join us. While I kind of wait for any other potential questions to come in, I'll do some housekeeping work. So like I said before, I am Megan. I'm from Craft Express. We do partner with Michaels. We love Michaels. We are in 40 Michaels stores across the country. We are also on Michaels.com, both on the Michaels website and in the marketplace end of the website. So you can find pretty much every item that we sell through Michaels.com. We are at Craft Express US on basically every social media platform. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And we do a lot of educational videos. So a lot of how-to videos. We try to teach you how to use every single one of our products. So if you ever have a question, you can feel free to go there. You can also feel free to come to us. So we love to help out. We're big on education. My email is megan@craftexpress.com. That's Megan, MEGHAN, @craftexpress.com. Very happy to help out anybody with any questions. I've had people from previous Michaels classes reach out to me, and I've helped them work through some sublimation problems. So if you ever need anything, please feel free to ask. Can you tell me about your heat press in the back of you? So I'm not sure which ones you're able to see. This is our, I'll just go through all of them. This is our automatic mug press. And this is cool because it presses mugs up to 15 ounces. It has an automatic trigger right here that closes the door once your mug gets dropped in. And it takes just one button to set the time and temperature. These two machines here are our handheld flat presses. We have them in multiple sizes. And this one presses up to 12 by 12. This is 6 by 6, I believe. And these are great because they vibrate to maintain constant pressure. Super easy to set, portable. This is our, it's really hard to see, but this is our flat press, our workplace file flat press. This one helps maintain a lot of hard pressure if you need it. And this is great for pressing like ornaments or items that are a little bit harder to press with a long amount of heavy pressure that you can't really achieve with the handheld heat press. Let's see. Awesome. Everyone's liking the class, I think. Hope you can help with my question. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can help with Diana's question. Hope you can help with my question. I have the same heat press, but I happen to have to put more time for the image to do a nice transfer. What am I doing wrong? So, Diana, my main question is, your sublimation blanks, it's going to play a big role in it. Are they coated in 100% polyester? Give me an example of an item that you want to press and the time and temperature that you're currently using, because it could be that you actually do need more time and temperature. Yeah, a higher time, temperature, and pressure, because every item is different. So give me a specific example, and I will help you tailor it. So the mug press. So I can try to do a mug press for a later class, but this is, like I said before, Rosalina, the mug press. And basically you hold this down for 6 seconds, and then you quickly press to set the temperature. Then you hold this down for 10 seconds and quickly press to set the time. Once everything's heated up, you drop your mug in and you're good to go. Super easy to use, very user-friendly. And because it automatically closes, it gives you a consistent pressure time after time after time, because the machine itself senses the width of your mug. How do I know the time and the heat for each product? I've been doing sublimation for a really long time, so that's how I know. So that's how I know. We actually do have a time, temperature, and pressure guideline online that we offer. I will put it to our Instagram account in our link tree, so it's easy for you to access. If you'd like, we are at Craft Express US on Instagram. So we have a guideline for every single one of our items that we offer. And we try to put that information online in the product description as well. So my email is Megan, MEGHAN, @craftexpress.com. Thank you, Chanel, for linking our Instagram. Okay, so when I tried to do a sub on a glass, the white flowers didn't show. How do you make sure the white flowers show? So my first question is, what is the base color of the glass that you're using? So sublimation does not have the ability to print the color white. So any white that you would get out of a design comes from the background of the item you're working with. So here's an example. So this mug is white. So if I were to transfer an image onto here that had some white flowers in it, the white is actually the absent, I'm gonna mispronounce, absence, there we go, of color. So it is, the color white is not printed, it's just blank, and the white shows through from underneath. So you're able to see some white, and you're able to see white in your design because it's shown through from here. Now, if your base product was, say, a pink mug, you're never going to be able to see the color white because you don't print and transfer the color white. So the pink mug in the area that on your design was supposed to be white is actually going to be pink, because the absence of color picks up the background of the item that you're transferring onto. It sounds confusing, but it does make sense. So, example, if you were sublimating on a glass and it was a clear glass, the absence of color is the clear glass. So there is no color white to show through. I hope that makes sense. So someone wants to know, where is Craft Express located? Is there a store? So we are located in Charleston, South Carolina. We do not have a store front. We do sell through Michaels. So like I said before, we have pretty much every single item that we offer on the Michaels website. Can we see the tall tumbler in the back of the picture? Okay, so this is a 30-ounce skinny tumbler. I did not have printer paper big enough for it. So this is printed with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. If you wanted to cover this end to end, you would need to print with an 11 by 14 sheet of paper. And in order to do that, you need a larger printer than the SG500 or the Brother printer. Neither of those is sold at Michaels. Can you fit a tapered tumbler in your press, or only the skinny ones? You can fit a tapered tumbler in. What you'd have to do is adjust the knobs back here. So let me quickly do this. So this isn't quite perfect, but you can see how on this end, where my head's pointing toward, the the barrel is wider, and on this end, the barrel is smaller. That's how you press a taper tumbler. So the larger end of your taper tumbler goes over the larger end, and the smaller end of your taper tumbler goes toward the smaller end. And that's how you press it. It is very difficult to achieve a full press this way, though. You can basically just put one image onto one piece of it. This, like I said, you can sublimate taper tumblers. It's just a little bit more finicky. If you want a full image around your entire taper tumbler, I would suggest using an oven. What is the largest sublimation paper you can get? Well, it depends. So it depends on your printer. So the SG500, the Brother Sublimation Printer, those are made for 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. You can get a bypass tray or the Sawgrass printer that allows you to print longer but not wider. You're always going to be limited to 8.5 wide, but you can go as long as you want. The Sawgrass SG1000, you can print 11 by 17. That's not the one I have, but the Sawgrass SG1000, you can print 11 by 17 or use a bypass tray, but you're still always limited to a width of 11 and as long as you want. If you're looking to get huge, big printers, you can go with the Muto printers. Those are big industrial size sublimation printers. Sawgrass also has the BJ628, I believe it's called. That also is another big industrial size printer. When it comes to an at-home desktop printer, the SG1000, the 11 by 17, is the largest you're going to be able to get. Hope that helps. Any other questions? No problem. Very happy to answer any other questions that you have. I do not know off the top of my head when our next class is. We are at this point hosting one sublimation class a month. I'm doing some of them. A lot of them are being done by my coworker Abby, who's also great, knows a ton about sublimation. And I think her classes are going to be a little bit more involved and more than just sublimating, but also sublimating and then adding something to it, like beads or something like that. Here's an example of how you can take your sublimation creation like to another level. So we did this last year. This was a we'll call it a cauldron cup for Halloween. So we sublimated onto the glass can. Then I added some, what's it called? Hot glue, painted it, and then added a bunch of beads to make it like a boiling over cauldron. So you can do normal sublimation, or you can use sublimation to kind of make your designs pop and add even more flair to it. What questions we have here? Are we able to keep this image to reprint? Yes, this image is now yours. That's an original image that I created using Canva. There's no licensing issues with it. You can print that multiple times if you need. Can I teach the class on decorating that cup? I might be able to. I will check in with the Michaels team and see if maybe in October we can make that our class for October. I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem. And yeah, I got some thank yous. I appreciate that. Any other questions? Now this is cooled down. We can go ahead and put our lid back on, put our straw on. Now I have a brand new cup that I've made myself for Mother's Day, which is great. If that's all, I will go ahead and just start to wrap things up. So again, I'm Megan, we're with Craft Express. Basically all of our items are available at michaels.com. Follow us at Craft Express US on basically any platform. On some, we're at Craft_Express. Just you'll see my face. So if you have any questions, message us there. My email has been put into the chat. It's Megan, MEGHAN, at craftexpress.com. And that's it. I know we have a class coming up in May. I'm not sure of the date or the topic, but if you go ahead and check on the class schedule, I'm sure you'll find it. And it will be with Abby. So thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you next month. Bye.